Yeah, when Camille asked me to speak today, I jumped at the chance. Increasing my speaking engagements is really on my goal list for the next year. I'm always looking for ways to get out of my comfort zone. I'm really honored to be here and to be considered a mind-blowing tech leader. So when I saw the invitation and the subject matter for the evening, I was even more pleased to be here and share some of my journey with current and future entrepreneurs. While my company is currently growing fast and I have 2 other companies that are on the verge of success, this wasn't always the case. I'll share a little bit about how I learned to attend networking events with at times crippling social anxiety, how I overcame my youthful arrogance brought on by being a high performer and an engineer, and how I crawled my way back from a business disaster in 2016, which left me with no revenue, no employees, and no contractors. First, a bit about where Big Bear is today and where it came from. So I started the company 16 years ago. I had no money, no ideas, nothing but willpower and desire. I almost went bankrupt 3 times. First time 5 months in with a mortgage and a newborn in the house. Now we currently have a team of 20 people, with the bulk of them in the Okanagan and in Calgary. And our current past clients, as Mike mentioned, include MacIntyre. We built a booking system for them that's in all their stores across Canada. QHR Technologies, C4I Consultants. Over the course of 14 years, I built most of their software products, including a military tactical simulator, mostly for Middle Eastern armies, emergency and disaster management simulator for U.S. Army, used that for chemical and nuclear disaster training, and a pandemic flu simulator for the Center for Disease Control, which they used until the swine flu hit and they started doing instead of training. And most recently, Innovate Calgary, so working with the Impact team at the University of Calgary, building the Tracker platform, which is helping medtech companies get through the FDA, Health Canada, and EU regulatory processes quicker. Also, in March of this year, I became the Canada-wide exclusive distributor of MedActive medication cooler bags, a unique and amazing suite of products that have been sold for almost a decade in Australia and Europe to help those with temperature-sensitive medications live their lives better. There's nothing like this in Canada, and I couldn't not bring it in. And this winter, we're launching our first product through Big Bear Innovations. It's a safety device for children on ski hills to help lost children and ski patrol find injured skiers faster. So in the summer of 2016, I got a little bit lazy. I had a nice contract with a defense company. I was working 6 hours a day at a full-time contractor. I decided I was going to enjoy the summer, and then I was going to work on fulfilling my lifelong vision for my company later. Almost immediately after I decided that, my one and only client at the time hit financial difficulties and terminated all their contracts. At the time, I was owed $50,000, and I wasn't sure I was ever going to get it. This woke me up in a real hurry. However, counterintuitively, I didn't just jump right back in and trying to attract clients and do what I had always done. I actually spent most of the summer riding my bike, thinking about what I wanted to do next. I'm a talented coder. I've written software that competed against billion-dollar U.S. Army software and won on performance and usability. I've written touchscreen voting software that was one of the top systems of its time. I was the first person to put a Wi-Fi card in a voting machine, and I kind of regret that. Ours was really secure, but I can sell. I can really do anything. And I realized that I could likely run any type of business. And so do I actually want to run a software company? And the answer was yes, but not the way I'd done it before. I realized I no longer wanted to write software myself at all. I've done it for 20 years, and I've had enough. So I drew a line in the sand 7 years in the future, coinciding with when my youngest son would be graduating high school. And I began to visualize what I wanted my company to be, who I wanted to be, and more importantly, well, not more importantly, as important, what the community I lived in wanted to look like. And it all came together one day in my first float tank session. And if you've never tried floating, like 90 minutes of sensory deprivation is absolutely incredible. It's part of my monthly routine now, and it's visionary thinking, quieting the mind. It's absolutely incredible. So after my first float tank session, I had my painted picture, my vision for the future. So I looked forward and I saw myself standing in front of 20 to 25 people, my employees, with my sons at my side. And I was describing the day that I decided what I wanted my company to be. And so I saw ourselves as a team of community builders, making great software while giving back to the communities that we lived in. and we had several wildly successful software products, and we were doing things that had a purpose. Now, a little over 3 years later, we're not only on track, but on pace to exceed those expectations. So how did I do it? I forget what my slides are, actually. There we go. How did I do it? How did I go from a little-known software company in Penticton to a sought-after tech leader who has helped grow the tech community in the Okanagan and being asked for advice on how to grow it in Calgary? Honestly, I got no clue. No, I'm kidding. I know exactly how we got here. But first, I want to back up a little bit. I think some of this might resonate with some people in the crowd here. So I'm actually an introvert. I'm super shy. I remember my first networking event in Penticton about 9 years ago, and I could hardly talk to anybody. Early in my career, I got some sales experience with the voting systems, and that really helped a lot with that anxiety. And I was arrogant. I was an engineer. Top performer. I really thought I knew everything. I used to go to conferences and just tell people how great I was, what I had done, and collect business cards. I see this a lot with people that are new to business. You're really excited to tell them who you are, what you have, what you're building. Nobody cares, at least not until they've connected with you. No matter how cool your idea is, if you don't have meaningful conversations with people, they're not gonna even hear what you're saying. So now when I go to a conference, I have meaningful conversations with just a few. And I spend a lot of time connecting those people with other people at the conference. Build trust and listen. And then I hit them with the background of what we've done. And what this does is it kind of exponentially grows your network at the conference, where you actually have people excited to tell people about what you do. It's a lot less work too, and it's easier to keep track of the business cards. 8 years ago, I joined the Junior Chamber International, and I learned the value of volunteering. I didn't really realize why people wasted their time on that. I obviously saw the light. 5 years ago, I ran for school trustee. So I had 5 weeks to do a marketing plan. I learned about myself, how people perceived me, and I basically ran the campaign almost entirely on my own. I'd been really involved with Accelerate Okanagan. I was decently well known in the community, but I had really retreated in that period, so I almost had to start from scratch. On the advice of a marketing consultant, I started writing a column for the Penticton Western called Tech Brew, and I didn't realize just how much reach this had, so I wrote it for about 2 years. I'm still technically a columnist, but I think I've written one in the last year. But people from all over who were thinking of moving to the Okanagan and Penticton in particular, they were reading this and they were seeing it, and they were seeing how a tech community was being built. I remember being in this room one day and people were like, what's happening in Penticton? Yeah, it was really fascinating. And then I created Tech Brew. So this is just a monthly beer meetup, and I thought I'd get maybe 5 to 10 people out a month coming. There's now over 400 members in this group, and at its peak, we were having 40 to 50 people coming out a month to this monthly beer meetup. 7 to 10 new people to the region, mostly from the Lower Mainland. It was quite fascinating. Sorry, I lost I'm still working on not needing a script so much. So, yeah, so I got that reputation built back up again. Jumping ahead here. I had to take on some projects that required me to code for a while again, but I kept it in my vision that I wasn't going to write code anymore. So I was focused more on attracting talent than I was on sales. And so I looked for any event I could go to that would benefit both the community and my business. So I stopped volunteering for things that didn't directly benefit my business. And it's okay to be selfish and selfless at the same time. They can work together just fine. But I generally enjoy helping the communities that we have presence in, and it's built a really high degree of trust with my team and with our clients. So rarely do we get questioned anymore if we can do the job. It's really, are we a good fit, and do we like to work with each other? Within a year and a half, we had large clients and a growing team. While researching tech for the ski tracker, came across a technology called LoRaWAN. I was talking to the hardware manufacturer, and I had about 300 ideas in one weekend. And somebody mentioned the word smart cities, so I Googled smart cities, and I found the federal government had a smart cities challenge where communities across the country had a chance to win a $50 million prize. Penticton chose the $10 million prize. So I wrote an article in the newspaper declaring Penticton the winner. I crashed the city Christmas party and convinced the CFO of the city to back us. It 6'5" guy. It was really, really fascinating. But he LinkedIn me that night, and he said, "Wow, you got me really fired up. Tell me more about this." And so we led this as almost an entirely community initiative in partnership with the city. We had surveys that thousands of people were answering. This giant blue number 10. Hundreds and hundreds of people took pictures of it. It excited people. We had politically, like John Horgan, Andrew Scheer, mayors, MPs. It was just a fascinating experience in a matter of months. However, that was a little bit too much community involvement, if I'm completely honest, and it almost destroyed my company and my team. But however, 2 years later, the knowledge that we gained, the connections, the credibility, the ideas, it's paying dividends, not just for my company, but also for the community that we live in. So I don't regret it. Back up. It is a bit finicky. Currently I am the president of the Okanagan School of the Arts and trying to revitalize the Shatford Center. So it's a 98-year-old old high school, and it's traditionally, in the last 10 years, been run by the organization, and it's a hub for arts community. And one of the things in the Smart Cities Challenge we realized in Penticton, and I imagine it's the same in communities across the Okanagan, is there's not enough places for people to congregate and collaborate. I mean, this is an amazing space. So much happens in this building, and we need more things like that. And so it seems like it's kind of unrelated for me to be president of an art school. I'm not an artist. I didn't even know what felting was until we had a course there. But just seeing the impact that it can have on the community is really great. And one of our long-term goals is my son drew this. So one of our long-term goals, we're going to build an innovation castle. It's just a fascinating idea that it's kind of our big, hairy, audacious goal. I don't have time to go into it, but I love the picture. So the Shatford Center is kind of practice for that, and we're potentially doing something in West Kelowna that might be quite exciting too. So just my advice to you, have meaningful conversations with people, listen more than you talk, and get out of your comfort zone any way that you possibly can. Running for school trustee was terrifying. Doing a Pet Kucha talk on mental health and entrepreneurship with my son in the front row was the hardest thing I ever did, but now nothing scares me. Bad decisions. Bad decisions are almost better than no decision. You don't have to have the answer, just start. Find support groups, coaching, talk to people. Don't be afraid to discuss your idea. If the idea is easy enough to be stolen, you probably shouldn't do it. I have a coach, Holly, from Leading Edge Performance Coaching. I talk to her once a week. I have a monthly forum group through the Entrepreneurs Organization where I can talk confidentially about my business, personal life, everything. These things are completely invaluable to me as a business owner. I don't have all the answers. I still struggle with my fears a lot. I can sense myself holding back right now a little bit with my 2 new businesses, but I'm going to get past that. And to paraphrase Pablis Holman, I saw him speak in Seattle, just a fascinating human being. He was at a Singularity University event. If you haven't heard of Singularity University, follow that. It's incredible what they're doing. So let's stop focusing on the next great app and making the most money. Let's do things that have a purpose. Instead of focusing on becoming the next billionaire, what if we focused on becoming the next company that impacted 1 billion lives on the planet in a positive way? I can't say why I feel like we can change the world exactly, but I think a large part of it has been seeing the impact that we've been able to have on the local community, and I think this can be replicated on a global scale. So thank you. I'm really excited to see what you all do with what you learned from tonight, and I'm really looking forward to some questions, hopefully some hard ones.